Good morning, YouTube. You are on the lifeboat. This is Captain Calhoun. How is it going? Happy Sunday. Oh, it's not going to work, is it? Oh, it's going to work. All that hair just fits inside the hat. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I was checking out my clown hair, and it's almost down to my chin now. And my head hair is like almost down to my chest. I'm pretty excited. Pretty excited. I have to say though, the awkwardness of the difference in length just increases as both lengths increase. So I'm hoping once we get like past the neck, I feel like it's going to be better. I feel like it won't be so weird anymore. If I just put up the top, the side looks absolutely ridiculous. I was thinking that it might not, but anyways, that's just some random stuff. Good morning, folks. Good morning, crew. Welcome in. Dingoes ate my name. Tommy Bird B. Auntie Monkey Pants Vixen, Miss Sunrise Dawn. Hello, hello. Rona Cooley, Galen, Renee B, Kristen Melinda, Fragmented, good to see you again. Jacqueline T, Robin, of course. Just watched the Sean Atwood show with Courtney and Chris, says Jacqueline. I'm on the same page as Tommy. Don't know why they sat on this for years. Something's way off. Huge respect for you guys. Well, thank you for the shout out. Thanks for watching and commenting. We appreciate it so very much. Lacey Silver, good morning. Bobby Jeans, glad to be here. Heck yeah, happy to hear that. The title today is "Even When You Don't Feel Like It, Suit Up and Show Up." And it's not that I don't feel like being here; it's that I don't feel like being anywhere really. I've been having some real hard time sleeping. I keep waking up at like 3 a.m. needing to take medication for my tooth pain, or put Oragel on or something. Keep waking up at 3 a.m. needing to solve a pain in my mouth. And it's been like 3 or 4 nights in a row. So I think I might need to go to the dentist. What do you think? Probably, huh? But that being said, that's the only reason I feel less than today. I didn't get very good sleep. If I had gotten up at 3 a.m. when I was feeling awake, and I was awake, rather than going back to bed, I would probably feel better right now. I'm not going to lie. I might be a little tired, but I wouldn't feel, what is this feeling? I don't know what this feeling is. This feeling is, I don't know, apathy, whatever it is, it sucks. But we're here. We're going to suit up. We're going to show up. We're going to do it anyways. And you know how I handle stuff like that? When I wake up, I have things to do. I don't feel like doing them. Put on a little motivational sound. Now, motivational sound, what's that? Jacqueline T says, I feel your pain. Toothache is hell. It's the worst. And I think it's going to be a work in progress until it's fixed. That's just the nature of my teeth problems currently. So, and it's okay. It's gonna be fine. I can still chew. I got a beautiful smile, beautiful-ish. So it's okay. We're gonna make it through. But when I don't feel like doing it and I need to do it, what do? Well, I put on some motivational sounds. This morning, I put on some William White, which isn't very motivational, honestly, but I needed to do the lifeboat. So I need to get my brain in that place, right? Start thinking about recovery, start thinking about what we're going to talk about, start, get my head in the game, so to speak. So I've been listening to William White, having coffee all morning, and I have one complaint. This series I've been watching is like one greater speech shortened into sections. So like he'll get to the punchline of a section and the video will end. And that's immediately when I want to rewind it and hear that last part again, right? So I keep having to like go back and find out which video I was just watching and like scroll to the very end because it keeps going to the next one before I have the time to review. Because the best part is the last second every time for some reason. So whoever put that together, work on it, man, please. But other than that, very effective at getting my head in the game. This series, again, is from like 11 years ago. And I wonder why there's not William White from 2025. Where's the current stuff? Not that this stuff doesn't have value, but I wonder, so much time has passed. They were this prolific and, had this kind of understanding of addiction back then. I mean, 11 years later, they've got to have a better understanding, right? It's got to be even more mind-blowing, I would have to imagine. So maybe I'll start looking for the new stuff, even though I'm not even halfway through the old stuff. Let's get some ones up, guys. For Miss Sunrise Dawn. for a kiddo, for anyone out there struggling, anyone that needs a little extra love. Let's put some ones up, huh? Thanks for being here, guys. It's the lifeboat. It's the lifeboat. Okay. Well, how is everyone? Today's my last day of normalcy. I feel pretty good as far as health, which is great. Um, so yeah, tomorrow we're going to be running around doing all kinds of stuff. I believe we're going to do my morning show at 5:30 or 6 tomorrow. I haven't decided yet. I really need to figure it out, but I got to be downtown at like 8. I want to be there at like 7:30 because I hate being late and being looked at like I'm not awesome. You know what I mean? I just don't like to show up halfway. So I'm gonna try and be there at like 7:30. So we should probably do our show at like 6. I think that's fine, right? Guess it takes me like a half hour to get down there, something like that. I think that sounds perfect. So let's plan on that. 6:30 a.m. Mountain Time. I know that's probably not going to work for some of you. It might work better for some others, but it's just how it's going to have to be while I'm working with the union this week. Well, that's not true. Uh, tomorrow I don't have to be there till noon. So Tuesday, six in the morning is what we'll do. 6 in the morning, Mountain Standard Time. Thank you for saying this, Cindy. I'm so glad to be feeling better myself. How many days was that? 26 days it took me to actually feel better. It's absolutely nuts. I'm grateful to feel better, but man, I can't. It's a long time to be sick. It's just a long time to be sick. Looking good in green. Dingoes ate my name. Heck yeah. Love it. Love it. Crystal Phoenix, hello, good morning. Hey, all, spent last 4 days unplugged. So doing great mentally. Also, oops, hit the wrong button. Scheduled my vacation to Fort Lauderdale. So in a good mood. Yeah, let's go. Unplugging is necessary. We definitely need to unplug from time to time, even if that's just you sitting on the couch, putting your feet up and leaving them there for a little bit of time. If that's all it is, that's great. Whatever the case, we definitely all need to unplug. We need to recharge. We're not like the Energizer Bunny. We do not keep going and going and going. We need to take a break from time to time. Stray kittens I took in get me up every day. Hey, Ms. Tree, good to see you. I love them, but no breaks for me anymore. How many kittens did you take in? When I was young, my dad would always bring home stray kittens. We started off with 2 cats that were brother and sister, Ralph and Alice. Ralph was my boy, and somewhere along the line, he brought home Jerry, and then he brought home Dinah. I don't know, it might have been in the other order, but we ended up with 4 cats. He kept bringing home cats, and we had the menagerie at home. We had the menagerie, and they were all wonderful cats except Dinah. Dinah would pee on stuff. She definitely never felt a part of the family. She felt like she needed to mark stuff up all the time. So that was pretty sad. Other than that, though, it was kind of cool having 4 cats around. Definitely nothing wrong with that. Good morning, Jeremy. Hello, Arwa. Man, I wish that I probably can turn that off, I imagine. Reading. My immune system probably just took a beating. Absolutely, I imagine. Whatever I can do to bolster that sucker moving forward, I'm going to be doing so. Vitamin C, fruit juice, right? Eating some veggies. We're going to do whatever we can because, dude, 25, 26 days, that's way too much. I can't. If that happens again, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? If I didn't have people around me to love me, that could literally sink my ship. When I say sink my ship, I don't mean the lifeboat. I mean like paying my bills and stuff. You can't not go to work for 60 days. You know what I mean? Holy crap. So thankfully I have people around me to love me and, help me out and take care of me when I need it. James Collins cares. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. Good morning. Started out with 1, then 2, then 5. 3 died, left with 2 kittens born on the porch. Oh my. It's a whole circle of life over there, Ms. Tree. Circle of life. Tommy Bird says he does seem like the strange cat lady on the block. My dad is 100% the cat lady on the block. Happily, he'll admit it too. He's not. He's proud. He's the proud cat lady for sure. And it's whatever. Maybe dude, we should make him a belt, like one of those championship belts, except it's just got a bunch of cats on it. And it could be like championship. I feel like it's funny to say championship cat lady and then put that label on my dad. It probably would be more endearing if we didn't put lady on the belt, but that's a fun little art project. Maybe I could make him a championship kitty belt. He is the champion. Have you guys seen the new kitty, by the way? I've only heard tell and seen videos. Apparently I'm going to go meet the little tyke today. I'm pretty excited. Victoria Morton, first live. Spanx, you're so real, impressive. It's a joy to be included in your journey. Well, thank you so much for saying so. The cat father. Look at that. I like that a lot. I'm going to write that one down because if I don't, I'll forget it. Is this where I write stuff down? So many things written down. I'm going to have to parse through them. Cat father. Let's go. Bobby Jeans has rescued 2 kitties since starting to watch The Lifeboat. That's wonderful. We're rubbing off on you. Nothing wrong with some kitty love, right? Jen Altneen Hobbs says, I really am feeling the title of the stream today. I'm going through it and it has been so rough. I don't know how much more fight I have left in me. I'm struggling so bad. What's going on, Jen? Is there anything that we, the boat, the crew, anyone here can do for you? I know often when we struggle, it's not a struggle like that. It's not like a struggle that people can help with. It's just something that you got to see through to the end, So I don't know exactly what is going on, but my heart goes out to you. I hate struggling. It's not the business. It's for the birds for sure, but we all do it from time to time. And it's definitely less uncomfortable to struggle with your friends, which, obviously I would prefer my friends not to be struggling, but sometimes that's what they're there for. Sometimes they're there to struggle with you, you know? You guys are a bunch of cat lovers. Look at you. Feisty Irish, good morning. Good morning. Cat Daddy's a good one too. I like that. For legal reasons, I can't say everything. I'll email you. Alrighty. Just know, Jen, if there's anything that the boat can do, we would love to do so. We would love to help. All right. And speaking of, this is something small, but it's something I can do. Let's put up some ones for Jen and anyone else out there that's struggling and needs a little extra. All right. Show our solidarity and love. As well as all of you, I would love a question. What do you mean, James? Did I miss something? Paw Paw or Meow Dad? Oh my. Oh my. You guys are cute. You guys are creative. I tell you what. That is written down. What's going on, Diane Reese? Welcome in. Still can't use the arm properly, so mostly lurking. Hope everyone's doing okay. Ones for anyone that needs. Well, some of these ones are for you, Diane. I hope the arm gets better soon. Spanx, I did a short today to promote my monthly Q&A that I started last month. Would love it if you had time to watch and leave a question in the comments. Absolutely. Now, again, if I don't write this down, I will forget. So, going on my important paper here, my pad. Did a short today to promote my monthly Q&A. Started this month. I would love it if you had time to watch. All right, so what we're going to put down is JCC short I would love to support you, dude. It'd be my absolute pleasure. And it's not even really about that because you most likely have something on there that's going to benefit me, right? Me checking this out is most likely going to make me better. That's the main deal. Um, that's the cool thing about the ripples here. It's like I'm doing this because it's something I can do. It helps me. It's good for me, and it's some way that I can give back, right? But I have to say, this makes me better every single day when I come on here and I talk to you guys, even if we talk about recovery or not. Like either way, the fact that I'm here, showing up, doing this, building this community, talking about recovery, whatever I'm doing, it's making me better every single time. And when ripples come off of that, like the law of attraction or whatever, right? We kind of end up with people that are like-minded, aka literally all of you. So I have no fear. Fear is the wrong word. What y'all are doing with your creativity, your energy, your time, your power is most likely going to benefit me just as much as this does because we are aligned. You feel me? Because we are all here seeking the same thing. So that's just my thought process that goes on there. Like, of course, I'm going to check out JCC because he's probably kicking major butt and taking names, I just wanted to say that. That was a lot of words just to say the ripples are awesome. That would definitely make Reese the Meow Ma. That's for sure, Missy Ann. Do you guys want to do a little William White this morning? Where did I put it? Actually, let's do it like this. Okay. Evening from the UK. Hey, Holly, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Well, we left off. I mean, it's hard to get through more than a paragraph or two of this guy when I'm reading it because of the way he words stuff. But I guess we'll just keep going until there's a good reason not to, It does seem to stimulate my brain, and I think it stimulates y'all's too. I feel like we've read that one 3 days in a row. We definitely read that yesterday. Scrolling. Does recovery require abstinence from or a deceleration of all psychoactive drug use? It seems interesting. Let's move it over here so I can see you guys. Defining recovery only in terms of an altered relationship with one or more primary drugs to which one previously met. He keeps mentioning this DSM-4 criteria. The DSM-4 criteria must be how they identified who was at risk of addiction or not, or something like that. He keeps mentioning this DSM-4 criteria, and I imagine it has something to do with the clinical way that they quantify addiction. So I'm going to skip over that. But what he's saying is defining recovery only in terms of changing my relationship with drugs and alcohol. When I previously was having trouble with drugs and alcohol, right? I previously was abusing and or dependent on, ignores the propensity for concurrent problems. So I'm going to go back because that second part really threw me off. Defining recovery only in terms of changing the relationship with drugs for one that was previously addicted or met some 4 criteria, ignores the high possibility for more drug problems to ensue. So that's an interesting statement. That's what he's saying, though. There are a growing number of people entering mutual aid groups, aka Alcoholics Anonymous. There's a bunch of them, right? Mutual aid groups, kind of what we do here as well, where that we call it peer support, right? And addiction treatment for whom a primary drug defies clear identification. There are a growing number of people entering mutual aid groups and addiction treatment for whom primary drug defies clear identification. I think what he's saying is people are seeking help and not being able to identify one single substance as the issue. I think that's what he's trying to say. And maybe it's many or concurrent issues, mental health, maybe even, right? This has led to definitions of recovery as enduring abstinence from all traditionally defined drugs of abuse. The problem with universally declaring all substitute drugs use as destructive, we know the answer to this, is an emerging body of evidence that drug substitution can serve as an effective strategy through which some people ward off acute and post-acute withdrawal. Clinical terms, I know, during their early search for recovery. So what he's saying is defining recovery only in terms of abstaining from use of a substance basically cuts off medical assisted treatment. It cuts off a lot of avenues that we have a ton of evidence saying that is effective, right? So he's basically saying we can't really define it like this. Otherwise, Suboxone isn't real, right? Otherwise, methadone isn't real. Otherwise, medical assisted treatment and harm reduction are pipe dreams, right? So I definitely agree. We're getting to something here. For example, the increased use of alcohol or marijuana during the first year of a heroin cessation. I think we're trading up here, aren't we? Concurrent issues, asks Dingoes Ain't My Name. I think is like coexisting stuff, like self-medicating for symptoms of mental illness. 100%. Concurrent meaning like together, right? So this could mean mental health. This could mean multiple addictions, right? This could mean I'm gambling and getting high, right? This could mean sex addiction coupled with cocaine, right? This could mean a myriad of things. This could mean so many things, but it does mean a bunch of stuff together, right? Or stuff continues, right? Let's say I stop the heroin, but I start drinking and smoking pot, right? And all it's saying is that there's continuance, right? There's more. One sec, getting organized. Many recovery stories depict the peeling away of different drugs over time in a process that might be aptly described as serial recovery. I don't know why that made me roll my eyes. Recovery from substance use disorders is best defined in terms of one's total relationship with psychoactive drugs, rather than in reference to a single substance. Now, what he's trying to do here is to move our focus from my DOC, right, my drug of choice, as a singular issue, and move my focus to my broader relationship with drugs and alcohol, with mind-altering substances. This includes caffeine, right? I drink caffeine like an addict, but I generally don't make a second pot, and I count that as good behavior. Now, that's probably not, the best way to look at it or think about it, but I am thinking about coffee in the sense of a drug, right? I am making sure that I'm thinking about my relationship with substances as a whole, right? I think that that's very important. The broader picture is something that's much harder for me to pay attention to, and it's not very motivating because I live right here in this moment, right? What's going to happen tomorrow or like this bigger picture idea is more of a fantasy for me, right? What's real is right here in this moment. And right here in this moment, my decisions matter. So I only say that to say that I try to keep that broad view, or at least I try to peek into that broad view now and again, keep things in perspective. Because it's not like, so if I'm a heroin addict, right? But I stop doing heroin, but then I go on and treat a different substance or a different activity the same way, right? I'm not really making much progress, am I? Right? Now that's a kind of a crappy explanation because the way I think that that's an unrealistic scenario, right? If I was an opiate addict and then I ceased the opiates, right? But then what am I going to actually treat like heroin, right? I don't think that's very realistic, but I think you understand what I'm saying, right? So we're just going to move on. I don't need to come up with another half-baked metaphor, but you get it, right? You get it. The broader idea of my relationship with mind-altering substances is important, right? Attempts to define recovery inevitably confront the question of nicotine dependence among those seeking recovery from other drug dependencies. And he has in parentheses, our first use of parentheses, do we give dispensation? Do we give dispensation for some addictions, but not for others? An alcohol dependent individual can be in recovery if he or she continues nicotine addiction, but not if he or she continues heroin addiction. Question mark. This may well be the most difficult of issues. And then he goes on to review literature that reveals heavy smoking is highly correlated with the development of other severe substance use disorders. Okay. Every addict I know is a smoker or was. Most people, 85 to 95%, admitted to addiction treatment in the United States are dependent upon tobacco. 3 people with alcohol problems exhibit more severe nicotine addiction than do smokers without alcohol problems and are less likely to stop drinking or less likely to stop smoking. There's more, but I want to take a second. When you put alcohol in your body and cocaine, those substances become something else for some reason. They interact and become an entirely different substance, kind of like when you smoke weed versus when you eat an edible. It's an entirely different chemical that you're getting high on, right? I think there might be something to be said for nicotine and alcohol. Now, there's no science behind this other than the evidence that when you couple them together, it's a whole different beast, right? There's no science other than that behind it, but I would be very curious to know if something similar is happening with nicotine and alcohol as well. I will get to the end of this section and then we can hang out and talk about it, all right? Those with more severe nicotine dependencies have poorer treatment outcomes for the treatment of other drug dependencies. Curious, very interesting. Continued smoking following treatment for other drug dependencies increases the risk of relapse. Interesting. I kind of want to read his references to see where he's getting this information. Smoking-related diseases are a major cause of death of people who have successfully recovered from alcoholism and other dependencies, other drug dependencies. Curious. I feel like a lot of that information was kind of like, duh, right? Smoking is not good for you. That last one, smoking-related diseases are a major cause of death of people who have successfully recovered from alcoholism. Like, well, you just finished saying that alcoholics smoke a ton, right? So I think that, I mean, wouldn't that kind of imply that alcoholics and ex-alcoholics are going to end up dying from smoke-related diseases? Okay, I get it. I understand what he's trying to say. I'm not trying to tell anyone to quit smoking. I get it, right? But he is right. Now, the whole point of listing all that stuff was the original question: do we make exceptions for some addictions and not for others, right? Like nicotine's an addiction, but we kind of accept it. Heroin's an addiction, but we treat that as something that needs to be stopped, right? So that being said, the final part of this says this is likely to be one of the most contentious issues in any effort to define recovery. I agree. At a minimum, it may be time to conceive and report recovery outcomes in more nuanced ways that convey these variations in recovery status. For example, full recovery without secondary use, recovery with subclinical secondary use, a partial recovery marked by drug substitution. So he's giving titles to different degrees of recovery, which was the section before this, degrees of recovery, right? Now, I'm not judging recovery, and I don't think he is either. I think he's just trying to clinically identify different outcomes, right? Again, the outcomes that he mentioned were full recovery without secondary drug use, recovery with secondary drug use, and a partial recovery marked by drug substitution. Now, I think when you use those words, it's useful in a clinical sense, but for normal people like us, I start judging myself as soon as I apply those to me. You know what I mean? Which is not productive. It is not productive. Wherever you land on the let's call it a recovery spectrum, the fact that you're on the spectrum is what matters, right? It doesn't have to look like anything. It just has to be livable for you. It just has to feel good for you. It's your life, right? It's your recovery, it's your path. I don't think that any of these are better than the next, right? Full recovery without secondary use, recovery with subclinical secondary use, partial recovery marked by drug substitution. I don't think any of those are better than another, right? I don't think any of those outcomes are superior, right? I'm not going to say that any of them are. Whatever friggin' works for you, that's what works for me. Now, now I'm I don't mean that what works for you is going to also keep me sober or whatever. What I mean is like whatever works for you makes me happy, right? I want everyone to be living their best lives. That's all. It doesn't have to look like, it doesn't have to fit in my rubric. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to fit a certain criteria. I just want you to be living your best life, right? I just want you to be reaching for more and not settling like we have done for so long, for so many years, right? That's all. I want no more overdose deaths. I don't think that's too much to ask. That's all. Jess Gunn says, does alcohol and weed form something different? My ex and one other person I know get vicious when they mix them. Never saw it in anyone else. When you say vicious, do you mean violent, Jess? This is probably, if crack cocaine didn't exist, this combination would be my DOC. Alcohol and weed together is definitely a thing. I don't know, again, if there's an actual chemical change happening, but I know that when I smoke a little and I drink a little, I feel like the man. I feel amazing. In fact, I want to feel like that forever and ever, but it doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. To answer your question, I don't know if there's an actual chemical change happening, but I am aware that this combination is my thing. So I never got vicious though. Like I don't get violent or anything like that. I will mention though that like substances affect people very differently, wildly differently. James Collins raises a great point here. I believe we do. Some addictions are life threatening, others are not. That's one difference that I can think of. I think that's a very big deal of a difference right there. You know what I mean? Some addictions, James goes on to say, ruin the addict's life and the people around them. Others don't also. Yeah, there's functional alcoholics and whatnot, right? I've heard tell of the legendary functional meth addict. I've never met him, but I've definitely heard the mythical stories of such beings. Victoria says, I would get dizzy mixing weed and alcohol. Yes, it's a very precarious balancing act. This much weed and this much alcohol do not equate. They're not the same. This much weed will do wild things to any amount of alcohol. In my experience with that mixture, I can put a ton of alcohol in, but as soon as I put a tiny bit of weed, it's a whole different story, right? That balancing act came down to how well I could regulate the weed part of it, because like just one hit could send you into spin zone, which is terrible, terrible. I have definitely ruined many a night by getting the balance wrong. I tell you what. Ugh. Wow, this episode has been a banger. I'm not mad at it. That's for sure. I'm gonna scroll up and see what the folks are saying. I spent quite a bit of time just monologuing there. Imagine that. Welcome in. You know what's funny? Your thumbnail here, I have a sticker on the side of my computer that has this guy's face. I'm pretty sure that's the Unabomber. And it says Super Ted above his head. I got this sticker working the road crew for, was it Pink Floyd? I don't think so. For someone, for some band that came through Salt Lake. I wish I could show you, but Maybe I can. Hold on. No, I'd have to take the hardware off. I'm not going to do that. It's a pretty sweet sticker, though. In my opinion, imagine that says it's behavioral brought on by a lifetime of social engineering from many sources, thereby normalizing it. I would have to agree with you. I would have to agree with you. Every time I turn the TV on, there's an alcohol ad, right? Every time. It's interesting. I hate ads. I feel like there's all kinds of entities, people, whatever, vying for my attention, right? Trying to convince me of certain things, really, that I have no business being convinced of, right? Like if I wanted this, that, or the other, I would seek it out, right? I don't need it to be shoved on me. So every time I see ads and stuff like that, I think about stuff like this. Social engineering. Like if there's a problem with the world, I think we could probably start putting the blame on those that are shoving stuff down our throats all the time. You know what I mean? With media, I think we could probably start putting the blame there. Thanks for hanging out and thanks for commenting. Imagine that. I 100% agree with you. I've spent and I will spend much more time, but I spent a ton of time and will continue to do so, trying to identify and undo the social engineering in my head. You know what I mean? Um, I'm constantly doing this, and I'm constantly working to stop new social engineering from actually taking root. Because again, no matter where I go or what I'm doing, someone is trying to program me. And that may sound crazy and paranoid, but I mean, advertisements, billboards, people having the political conversation out front, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care about any of that stuff. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But if you listen to something constantly, right, little pieces of it are going to stay and stick, whether we want it to or not. Hmm. Hmm. Well, guys, I feel like it's a great stopping point. Tomorrow should be regular. I know we haven't done any Calhoun's Corner. Maybe we'll do that today. I need to come up with a schedule for myself, or at least the outline of a schedule for myself. Otherwise, we will have no regularity at all. And that's a problem. So I'm going to work on figuring out how often, what time, and in what manner we're going to do Calhoun's Corner. And I will let you guys know as soon as I decide. Um, I'm doing my juggling act. I'm trying to balance everything. I'm throwing new balls in and trying to make sure that I can keep them in the air with all the stuff that I've been keeping in the air, right? So I'm just gonna continue my baby step method. It seems to work really well. So I mean, before the end of the week, I should have a good answer, because I'm going to be at the height of my busyness this week. And usually a couple days in, I reach a normalcy, right? So I'm thinking Wednesday or Thursday, I should have a good idea. I should at least be able to have a good idea Wednesday or Thursday. So that doesn't mean we're not going to do Calhoun's Corner before then. That just means I'm planning on having a plan, like a regular scheduled programming kind of thing at that point. So keep an eye out for that. Um, what else? What else? What else? What else? I think that's really it. Tuesday through Friday, we're going to be doing this very, very early. So don't forget, if you're just tuning in, I'm going to be working with the union extra early this week. So Tuesday through Friday, we're probably going to do the morning gig at 6 a.m. Mountain Time. That would be 8 a.m. Eastern. So keep an eye out for that. It's going to be happening not tomorrow, but the rest of the week. And shout out to my dad, the Admiral. Check him out later. Johnny Scoville on Chase the Heat. Relatable Reese, we love her. And any of our ripples. Shout out to the mods, the crew, anyone new. You guys are the best. You guys make my days better, make my life better. You make me better. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for commenting. If you want to reach out to me, you can always do so at TLB Calhoun. at Gmail. I almost put Yahoo there. At gmail.com. You can also get at me in the comments. I read all the comments. Even if I don't respond, I read them all. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys later today or in the morning. Much love. All right. Be good to yourself today. You deserve it. This has been The Lifeboat with Captain Calhoun. Sayonara.